Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to this video series on the Neo Jazz piano method. So this is a method that I put together to help you guys understand modern jazz improvisation, to learn it very quickly, and that's especially true if you like the modern neo soul inspired sound. So a lot of you guys have been asking me for a very long time now, how do I actually create these neo soul progressions and these micro jams and just these chord progressions in general? How do I create them just on the spot? How am I going about reharmonizing them and branching off and making them more complex and interesting? Well, believe it or not, there actually is a method to my madness, and it's actually simpler than you think. And today I'm gonna show you guys one of my absolute best secrets, and now you guys are gonna understand it too. It's called Harmonic Cell Theory. But before we dive deep into Harmonic Cell Theory, I want you guys to first understand melodic cells. So you guys may have heard of melodic cells before. They're a fairly common advanced improvisation technique. Now, what it comes down to is a melodic cell is really just a grouping of 4 notes, a melody of 4 notes, okay? So if we're in the key of A minor, let's just make up a melodic cell we can use here. So let's do flat 3, 4, 5, and flat 7. So C, D, E, G. That's our first melodic cell. Now, the concept of permutations is the idea that we can then turn this melodic cell into other versions, okay? All we do to make that happen is simply do the notes in a different order. So we could do 2, 1, 3, 5, right? Or we could do 3, 2, 5, 1, right? And so on. Now, where this starts to get really cool is we can then combine these melodic cells together. So we could actually do 1, 2, 3, 5, and then 3, 2, 5, 1. So now, what if we then add a second melodic cell into the mix altogether? So we have flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, right? But now let's actually also add in 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3. So even just playing those two together is already interesting. Right? And then of course we can do different permutations of those two and come up with sounds like this. But melodic cells are not the point of our conversation today. I just wanted you guys to understand how that works. Today we're going to be talking about harmonic cells, and we're actually going to be taking some of the ideas from melodic cells and actually applying them to chord progressions. So what I call a harmonic cell is actually as small as a grouping of 2 chords. So for example, A minor to E minor, that's a melodic cell. E flat major to A flat major, also a melodic cell. What we're doing is we're actually breaking down progressions into their smallest building blocks, okay? So here's the way I look at it. If you look at an entire song or an entire progression, it's very easy for that to become overwhelming. It's very difficult, on the other hand, to be able to see that whole progression and then just do whatever you want with it, make something new out of it, because it's overwhelming to have maybe 30 plus chord changes in your head and be experimenting with them. So the whole point of harmonic cell theory is we actually break down a progression into its smallest possible building blocks. So I want to show you guys what we can do with this. So let's take those 2 harmonic cells that we were just messing with. Let's do A minor 11 to E minor 11. That's our first cell. And then let's do E flat major 9 to A flat major 9. And that's our second cell. So if we're just thinking in terms of these small cells, all we have to do on the spot is just come up with 2 chords at once. And then we combine those 2 cells and we've got a short progression. Awesome. So now where do we go from here? Well, check this out. We can do different permutations of that harmonic cell, and immediately we're actually taking an improvisational approach to a chord progression. So now what we've got here is a double cell, right? We've got 2 harmonic cells put together, and now we've got a 4 chord cell, okay? So this is where this starts to get really interesting and where we can start to make some really interesting permutations. So for our first permutation, what if we just reverse the entire order of the chords in the cell? So in other words, we're doing this cell backwards. So already that's a slightly different progression that sounds really interesting, but still in the same world as our original cell permutation, right? So now, what if we actually reverse just one of those cells, but kept the other one the same? So we're coming up with yet another permutation here. So let's keep the first cell first, but reverse the order of the chords, and then keep the second cell as it was originally. So that's already sounding really, really cool. Now what we can actually do is combine these permutations together. So we'll do one permutation and then switch to a new permutation. And you guys might be starting to see what's happening here. We're starting to have complete fluidity with just these 4 chords. We can put them in essentially any order and feel comfortable with that. And then of course, a next step will be adding in improvisation. But I think you guys are starting to see how cool this is. It's no longer about how chords are specifically related to each other in terms of a diatonic key. It's about how they are related to each other in terms of these small groupings of cells. And that is what's so powerful about this, especially for coming up with modern progressions. Now, what if we just break those cells into other pieces as well and actually no longer have to have the chords from the original cell? We can actually switch out chords into other cells. So this is awesome, guys. And obviously there's so much more to this. There is so much interesting information that we could go over here, but obviously I only have so much time in this video, so I wanted to get you guys started with harmonic cell theory to show you how cool this is and how easy it actually is. If you are interested in learning more about this stuff, make sure you get on the early bird waiting list for my course, Jazz Piano Secrets, which is coming out really, really soon. So if you saw the other videos, you know how this works, but essentially the course is going to have a very limited amount of space, and anyone on the early bird waiting list is actually going to get access to join the course an entire day before anyone else on social media. So if you do want to have a shot of getting a spot in the class, make sure you are on the early bird waitlist. I will have it linked in the description to this video. So again, make sure you click and sign up. All right, guys, so I'm actually giving you an assignment today. Today, I want you to actually go to your piano or keyboard and start creating your own chord progressions. I want you to use harmonic cell theory to come up with a couple cells, combine them, and come up with some different permutations, and see if you can get comfortable moving between permutations and moving from chord to chord, essentially improvising your own chord progression in your own order, in your own style. So that's going to be really, really cool, and I would love to hear from you guys about how it goes. Feel free to shoot me an email if you want to talk to me more about it. Now, here's the thing, guys. This stuff is just scratching the surface. Harmonic cell theory by itself goes way more in depth. One of the other things we'll talk about is actually intervallic progression formulas, and so those allow you to achieve a sound something like this. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Make sure to try your assignment, try harmonic cell theory on your own, and see how it goes. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video.